The Show.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Jake.
And I'm David. And Charlie plays drums. Jacob is the guitar player. I play bass and sing for the band.
All right, cool.
So how is you guys just released a single, correct?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
How long has that been since you released it?
So that was January, right?
Yeah, January.
Yeah, basically we had been working on the music for about, with our busy schedules in life, we'd been working on the music roughly for about just shy of 3 years when we decided to get in there and start originally demoing this stuff, which we did at home, and then just kind of made the commitment to put the music into a professional studio and just kind of more or less to get us a little bit motivated and get our music out there. So it was a really great experience. And
shout out to Mad Oak Studios.
Yeah, in Boston. Well, Allston, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston, or right on the. Yeah,
it's right
on the fringe.
It's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get in with a engineer, somewhat co-producer, Benny Grotto. Mad Oak is sort of notorious in New England for taking on more hardcore punk rock projects, as well as many other things. So it was we were really lucky to get the spot. We knew we had to get our shit together. Am I okay to say shit?
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So get our shit together and kind of see how the music was going to translate in recording. And it was great. It was just a great experience, and we're very happy with Benny Grotto and Mad Oak. They work fast, so we were what were we in there for 3 days total? Yeah,
which helped with the cost.
Yeah, it helped with the cost.
Yeah, I'm sure.
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
So it was really no bullshit. You needed to kind of be, you needed to be well rehearsed. So it was great. It was a great motivator for us. We're all very busy people in general. So this was sort of a commitment that I think we made to, it was sort of solidifying that commitment and getting us to sort of motivate and pull our shit together for going out and doing shows and stuff. So that's where we're at. Yeah.
And the song Clockmaster, so how did that come about? Was that just something and who writes the music? Like, who actually comes up with everything, or is it like done in the same room, or how does that look?
Sort of just jam it out. I mean, Clockmaster, if I remember correctly, me and him were just, I think you actually hopped on drums. It was just me and you jamming.
Yeah, Jacob and I were, Jake's kind of the primary riff writer and somewhat composer. So Charlie and I are oftentimes accompanying, origin ideas from Jacob, and then just kind of catching ideas from that. So yeah, we do some jamming to work out the riff, and then we'd bring it into rehearsal, and it would kind of develop organically. I know that sounds really cheesy when bands say that, but we're definitely not a jam band. But we do jam. Yeah, we'll jam the riff. We're big on like repetition and kind of catching the ideas as they come, and kind of making those decisions together is really nice. So it's not like a primary. I would say Jacob is sort of the primary riff writer, you know, and then Charlie and I come in and try to catch the ideas and bring it into focus, I guess, right, guys?
Yeah,
Something like that.
all sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's a great process. It works out well.
Yeah.
We've all played music for a long time. You know, so we're no strangers to working with other musicians. This ended up being just a lot of fun and actually taking sort of an odd shape in comparison to some of the other music that we all collectively do separately. So you know, if we didn't like it, you know, or if it was sounding too much like other things we've been a part of, I think it wouldn't have made it to the recording session. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, we have a lot of bands that send us
If that makes sense. I'm rambling.
No, you're good. You're good. But we have a lot of bands that like will send us a lot of music, you know, like and again, we play literally everything.
Everything and anything.
Anything and everything. Everything and anything, however you said it, yeah. But you know, I was actually I was doing shit on my computer and I started listening to your guys' music, and you know, we don't interview like every single band that we play, and I was listening to the music and I was like, this is fucking cool as shit. And you know, and that's like what inspired me, you know, like we'll take turns on who we're like, you know, because you know, again, we get a lot of music, so it's like we got to vary on who we interview and all that. But you know, I was the one that was like, you know, like this is cool as shit music, and like, that's why I wanted to interview you guys, because I think you really do have something special, and you know, it you could tell that you guys are very tight together when you're playing, you know, as far as the recording goes. Obviously I don't hear anything live, but I'm sure it's the same. And tell me the process of that. So like you guys have been together for what, 3 years, you said?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, we
on
started
and off.
We
Pretty consistently.
yeah, we started about 3 years ago. Dave and I have played in various bands over the years, and we have just a great musical relationship with each other. And Jake has come in to just put an emphasis on all that, and it's morphed into this thing. So like the energy that we put into the music really is like it's symbiotic. We're clicking on the stuff. We're not, you know, mulling over things a lot, and we're just enjoying it. It's like it's happening. And over the, you know, the 3 years, we have a lot more songs. We recorded 3, but it's been a joy to actually just create this music without a lot of stress, or, you know, even being in the studio, such a, you know, just watching him, like, wow, like
kind of,
you know, impressive, you know, like just he had his ideas pretty well mapped out that we had no idea, like tones and other things that he was doing that were inspirational. Like we were like, holy shit.
Well,
like,
I think it should be noted too, guys, that, you know, bringing like kind of an old, like in this day and age where everything's sort of, you know, pumped out on the internet, which the internet's a great tool for musicians, but bringing sort of an old school ethos and really just getting in and grinding it out, you know, just like letting it happen, which you guys being in bands yourselves understand, you know, that sometimes that's like, that can be real fucking magical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you just like, and now you're just catching ideas, and it's no bullshit, you know. It's just, you know, you feel like you feel honest about it, and that was important to all three of us. I think I can speak for the band in saying that, you know, we wanted to enjoy what we were doing first, you know.
Oh, of course.
And if people dig it, that's just very cool, and we appreciate it for sure. But it's different. We're in different times now, you know, so it's weird, but yeah, so it's been very positive, and I think
now, do you guys have like an album that you're going to work on, or we talk a lot of bands and they're just kind of doing the singles thing, which it turns out great for everyone because that's what kind of everyone does.
Yeah, we sort of have another 6 songs pretty put together.
Yeah.
That we're hoping to actually get in again this year and record those. And then we've got a bunch of other just sort of recordings of practice where we had a lot of good ideas, and we're hoping to get cracking on those as well. I guess to speak to what you had asked about, like our process, we sort of just improvise and then refine. So
yeah,
don't really come to practice with anything in particular in mind, just jam and then trim the fat.
And that's
sometimes the best ideas come out when people are taking a bathroom break or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it really does happen sometimes.
He's talking
like
about
that.
me. I took a bathroom break, and all of a sudden,
well, you'll hear a riff. We'll take
I gotta
off.
go back.
We'll take off outside. Jake will start riffing on something, and we'll just kind of follow it. But,
so do you always take your guitar when you're taking a shit, or how's that work?
Yeah, my bass every time.
Oh,
yeah,
I have drums. That is the throat, right?
He's got a drum kit.
You gotta keep working, right?
You gotta take the whole drum kit in there, and
you just set up the electric kit in the bathroom.
We're gonna get out and play this August. We've got a show on deck in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and
nice.
Hoping to be in Nashua after that, and kind of get moving here a little bit with some of the music that's not been recorded in preparation to get back in the studio. So we're definitely looking to be active in our little region of the Northeast. And so that's, we did decide to bring in a second guitar player who's not here. And he's been playing with us a little bit. So it's going to be, we want it to be big, live, just get it
for sure.
Kind of no bullshit,
I always feel like for live shows, you almost need a second guitarist because you just need you need some fill. You need sound to fill and actually fill the room.
Yeah. And Jake has written some cool alternate parts and tonally on the record that he recorded that just sounds so damn cool that we want to hear it live.
Yeah.
So, and the guy we got coming in is jumping right in, and he's like, I got you, and we did a little mini show for some family, and Jake's guitar totally went out.
Yeah.
And
nightmare.
And the other guy just had it, and we were like, what happened to Jake? But we couldn't tell because he had it. He had the rhythm stuff dead on. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Good trial run.
So it was cool.
Nice.
Those are the parts that, like you'll remember for the rest of your life, all those little things that happen during shows, and, it's what makes you grow as a band too.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear that one.
So where did you guys get the band name from?
Well,
Tell the story.
as you guys probably know, it's very difficult, like with the age of the internet, to kind of find a band that hasn't been taken, band name that hasn't been taken. And so when we were kind of kicking it around, I mean, we live in a very interesting, you guys are in Chicago, which is awesome. By the way, shout out to Chicago. But we're in the Northeast. We're in a very sort of uniquely spooky area up here. Like everything's old as shit. It's there's so to answer your question, we were kind of focusing on sort of a bird theme, and originally wanted to call the band Crow. But I believe that was taken, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, they're out taken. So, so we opted for KOGA. KOGA, in simple terms, is that's just Cherokee's Nation's name for crow. So band name is actually Crow. KOGA is how you say crow in Cherokee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's unique.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and it seems to fit where we are. Like I said, it's a very. Have you guys been out to the East Coast?
I used to live in Savannah, so
Nice.
I'm familiar with old spooky buildings and shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
We have a town here that is called. Well, you must have heard of Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not that far from us.
Yeah.
And it is very similar to Savannah. They have the ghost tours, and they do a similar kind of thing. So it's
there's some good culture out here other than just colonialism. There's a very strong First Nations or Native American presence here. There's also a strong maritime presence, which with not that it's necessarily intentional, but when we're trying to catch ideas, we're trying to be true to our environment out here, and so that's I think kind of finds its way into this music for sure. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question.
you're
No,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
it's somewhere in there. The vibe
yeah,
is
I found it. I found it 20 minutes ago. No, I'm just
Thanks, guys.
No, I'm totally joking. It's great. It's great. I love it. Like I really do enjoy this.
It's but yeah, we're real fortunate, I mean, I feel like all musicians are kind of fortunate if you're doing stuff and work. I'm hoping there's like a little bit more of a renaissance coming where people are willing to get in to their space and sweat it out and catch the ideas and don't try to formulate the shit like for radio and stuff. I mean, we're so lucky to have people like you guys, independent, just supporting independent. We have some people out here that do that as well. And it really should never be about fame and fortune. Like just get out there and make something, just kind of create something,
Well, at the when you first start something, it's more about feelings, because that's initially when you're writing music. It's when you very first start writing music, it's all about your feelings.
It's about your feelings. It's about the love for the actual music.
Right.
Enjoying what you're doing.
You put that all together, and then something comes from it. But then, there's bands that, like very big bands that just kind of lose the meaning. Not all of them, but they lose the meaning of what they initially started with, and that emotion seems to kind of go away. And that's why I think you hear some really popular bands that just, their music is like, it's all right. I really like their first two albums because it's the emotion. I refer it back to even sports, like when someone plays like they in their rookie year, they're trying their best to get in, and they finally get in, and it's just like, done and over with. But and that's what it is amazing about bands like yourselves. Like, you just hear the raw emotion, the raw feeling, and that is the coolest thing in the world, that I think is better than any popular band that's out there now, even though they're good. But you don't get that as much.
I appreciate that, and I know these guys do too.
Oh yeah, really appreciate it, and that's the kind of music that I like to listen to a lot of times too. Is that raw emotion, like where it's not perfect, and even like, all right, that's not totally polished, but that's like great. I mean, some of the stuff that Dave has in his listening stuff is bands that we played with, who never became or haven't be, like I said, now they're kind of defunct, unfortunately, but like just great bands, just like with raw like talent and doing it for the love of it. And then so that's the kind of stuff we like too. So that's what we want to put out.
What's your guys' musical influences, or if you have any? Oh, I'm sure everyone does, but
no, we have many. I mean, Charlie and I are a little bit older, so we're coming out of the late 70s stuff and 80s and 90s. So I mean, everything is available and enjoyed in moderation. But I would say, for me, personally being a kid, I enjoyed, the catharsis of kind of heavier bands. I liked, not to date myself, but I graduated high school in 1991, so,
yeah.
It was a good time for music then. You had everything happen in the Pacific Northwest, but you also had everything happening in, sort of the DC crossover scene. You had your Fugazis and Minor Threat. All of it seemed kind of to be reaching around everywhere, when you were with your friends. So you felt slightly eclectic in that time. And then as I personally grew older, I would find, back in the days when you could read a magazine article on a band that you liked, they'd usually drop some breadcrumbs. And I was a big 16 horsepower fan, in my early 20s, and that led me into Cat Power and a lot of kind of more obscure alt bands, I guess. But I don't know. That's me personally, Jacob.
I mean, I'm all across the board. I think at the time of us sort of putting these songs together, I'd been listening to like a lot of I don't know if you guys know Pinback and Morphine, and then like a lot of 80s new wave stuff.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously I listen to a lot of metal as well. Like love some New Orleans sludge, like Crowbar, Acid Bath, Soil and Green.
What is that again? New Orleans sludge?
Yeah, so just that whole scene from the 90s, like Crowbar, Acid Bath, Soylent Green.
No shit. I honestly haven't heard any of that. So
I think I've heard Acid Bath before, but I have not heard the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna check
you guys,
that shit out.
You dig it. Anything coming out of Sorry about
Can
that.
we interrupt that?
You can answer it. That'd even be more fun.
Put them on.
No, you guys,
Yeah,
you guys would dig it for sure. I mean, New Orleans is kind of like a hot spot for a lot of bands, sort of just untethered. You know, there's sludge is sort of the predominant theme, but yeah, Acid Bath. You guys heard of I Hate God? They're a good band.
No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to listen to these bands though, because
no, you
It's a
dig
good
it.
scene to check out.
Yeah, I think you guys would dig that.
yeah.
You know, like bands like Corrosion of Conformity came out basically out in New Orleans, right?
You'd have to
Yeah.
Texas, New Orleans.
Texas,
area.
New Orleans. So
No shit.
yeah, there's so much good stuff, but you know, Charlie, chime in. Like, what have you been listening to?
Whatever. Listen.
Come on, Charlie.
All right. Well, so
You had all this time to think, Charlie.
Come on, Charlie.
I'm a little strange. I'm a little bit of a strange music listener. I like it kind of, as far as like inspiration of drums, like
Yeah.
I decided long ago that I wanted to learn how to play the drums, but not try to play like really like anybody else. Like I wasn't like, oh Neil Peart's the man, like, oh, but he was. I loved what he did. I grabbed a little bits and I grabbed a little bits. I just love listening to music, but I like playing it. I wanted to play it. Like I listen to a lot of different stuff. I'm a little more analytical in my listening. But there's just stuff that like just blows your mind. And I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
Charlie,
specific.
the question was,
who's my influence? But what am I listening to right now? I actually listen to a lot of Americana music, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Okay.
But I like the stuff that's a little more dark or brooding or bluesy and a little bit gritty.
Okay.
It has to have that raw emotion or it doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, that's what I love about like even listening to heavy bands. Like a lot of it is just raw emotion.
Yeah.
And it's sort of what has drawn, like, I mean, like I said, Dave and I have played in projects, over the years that like, they just have that thing that pulls you into either to the story that's being told or musically or whatever. And that's what I want to play. I want it to be interesting. So I try to find little pockets of music that I listen to that do that. I wish I had specifics. I'm a horrible music listener in that way.
No,
but
you're fine. You're fine.
But I love playing it. And so it's sort of like where I'm at. Like I like to play with people who have that sort of, I want to, give something or create a thing that is not, I'm not trying to do a thing. It's just what I want to do,
Yeah.
So, or in this group, and I like heavy stuff. I mean, I do. I like hitting the drums hard. I'm a rocker. I've been a rocker. I was an 80s hair band kid. Sorry, that dates me. But yeah, like I was into
some good hair metal.
It was just vibrant and brash and just out there, like here's me being nuts. And I'm like, I like that. But when the 90s hit, I was like, oh, wait a second. So I went back and started to listen to like a lot of the 70s stuff and 60s stuff. I'm a big fan of the Doors and Creedence.
Oh yeah.
Even the band and like, like listening to like early Jimi Hendrix or Band of Gypsies. I like funk stuff, like that, just that raw power of energy that comes from that music. And
I think that the bands that you kind of end up believing out there kind of allowing their influences to sort of just air out and, you know, let them come through. It's, you know, to speak, to support what Charlie's saying, you know, I kind of feel like all musicians should have like a wide open mind and not be too critical. Like Jacob had mentioned, 80s new wave.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff in there.
You know, at the end of the day, I think the goal is to kind of either sometimes for some artists they're very deep and personal compositions and that's great, and then other times it's just catching ideas and allowing yourself the opportunity to be imaginative and catch those ideas. And
For sure, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm being honest about it. I mean, I think how people not underestimating the intelligence of the listener, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
letting
exactly.
people actually have their own interpretation of it is a really great thing too. So,
if anybody in the southern New Hampshire, anybody listening in the southern New Hampshire area and near the Massachusetts border near Amesbury, we're playing at Beowulf Brewery on
August 1st.
August 1st. Yeah, I don't even think, is that right?
Yes, it is.
All right, August 1st. I'm so sorry. You're right. 8-1. On August 1st at Beowulf Brewery, it will be a 4-band bill. So it'll be us and a few other bands. It'll be an all ages show. It is at a brewery called Beowulf Brewery. And I don't even know what time it starts yet, but
doors probably open at 7:00.
7:00
yeah.
is my thing. I would say they put me on the spot. It's not fair.
You can find our music.
Yes, where can we find the music, Jake?
You can find our music on all platforms. We're just KOGA on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere you can listen.
Are we on Bandcamp?
And Bandcamp.
Yes, I recommend Bandcamp. I'm starting to do Bandcamp.
KOGA, thank you guys so much, KOGA.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. You guys are great.
And we'll keep in touch soon. We'll let you know when everything is out. But till then, thank you guys so much.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
You too.